Facebook. Okay, we're online on Facebook and YouTube. There we are. Okay, we're getting ready to start. Fantastico. Nice to see everybody. All right, 15, let's see, I think we got everything ready to go. And what song are we going to sing today? Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai. Taruni Mandala Mai. Veshe Hari Diskuta Vrinda Vipineshe Namo Yarurate Vardhana Veshe Hari Diskuta Vrinda Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Navasasheneke Lalita Sakikuna Ramita Vishoke Shapanutane Navasasheneke Lalita Sakikuna Ramita Vishoke Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Karuna Bhadate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Nam Guru Mae Karuna Bhadate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Taruni Manda His Divine Grace, Abhaya Caitanya Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti, Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shai Makunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yuvanamai Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Sapaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torched light of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So we're continuing our study of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. Let's do something. And we are reading from chapter 16. 16 is about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's attempt to go to Vrindavan. Of course, not in this particular chapter, he doesn't go to Vrindavan, but he makes an attempt to go to Vrindavan, and we'll see what happens. So let's go back. Hold on a second. Let's go and share the screen. So Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. All right. We're continuing with our reading from chapter 16, and we're on text 72. Here we go. Krishna Nama Nirantara Yanhara Vajane Se Vaishnava Shrishta Bhaja Tanhara Charane. A person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is considered to be a first-class Vaishnava, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. So, just to reiterate, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked the question, like, who is a Vaishnava? How could you understand someone's a Vaishnava? Someone who is constantly chanting the Lord's holy name is a first-class Vaishnava. Someone who is not constantly chanting, he may be considered not such a first class, but he or she is still a Vaishnava. Anyone who chants the holy name, even once, we offer respects, at least in the mind, if not physically, and it's someone who's superior to us, we offer our service. This is the version of Srila Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura says that any Vaishnava who is constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord should be considered to have attained the second platform of Vaishnavism. Such a devotee is superior to a neophyte Vaishnava who has just learned to chant the holy name of the Lord. A neophyte devotee simply tries to chant the holy name, whereas the advanced devotee is accustomed to chanting and takes pleasure in it. Such an advanced devotee is called a Madhya Bhagavat, which indicates that he has attained the intermediate stage between the neophyte and perfect devotee. Generally, a devotee in the intermediate stage becomes a preacher. A neophyte devotee, an ordinary person, should worship the Madhya Bhagavat, who is a via medium. It's very interesting, worship of Mahabhagavat. Of course, we also worship of Mahabhagavat, Adhikari, but especially the Madhya Bhagavat are those who we come in contact with. And even if someone is an Uttama Adhikari, Tamas devotee of the Lord, he or she comes down to the Madhya platform so we can relate to them. Otherwise, we would not be able to relate to them. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Pramati Besja Bhajantamisham. That means that Madhyama Adhikari devotees should exchange obeisances between themselves. Please accept my humble obeisances. What's an obeisance? That means you bow down and you offer respects to the other person. That's all. Obeisances have to be done with the body, with the mind, and with the words. The word nirantara meaning without cessation, continuously, constantly, is very important in this verse. The word antara means interval. If one has desires other than a desire to perform devotional service, in other words, if one sometimes engages in devotional service and sometimes strives for sense gratification, his service will be interrupted. A pure devotee, therefore, should have no other desire other than to serve Krishna. That's the definition of a pure devotee. Okay. And Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada is going to quote Rupa Goswami in this regard in a second. He should be above fruitive activity and speculative knowledge. In his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says, and this, of course, is the nutshell verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is also quoted in the Caitanya Caritamrta, 19th chapter, X 167. And Yabi Lashata Shunyam, Gyanakamar Navritam Anukuyena Krishnadu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. This is the platform of pure devotional service. One should not be motivated by fruitive activity or mental speculation, but should simply serve Krishna favorably. That is first-class devotion. Serving Krishna favorably, one other element. Do it or serve Krishna favorably according to love. Not simply I'm serving Krishna favorably because that's what he wants. But bhakti means doing it out of love. I want to please Krishna. Motivation. We're talking about motivation. Another meaning of antara is this body. This body is an impediment to self-realization because it is always engaged in sense grad. Similarly, antara means money. If money is not used in Krishna's service, it is also an impediment. Antara also means janata, people in general. So in other words, that which is an impediment can also be used to help us in devotional service. Money can be used to glorify Krishna. The body can be used to serve Krishna. The example given is that if one has a thorn in their body, then you can use another thorn to take it out. And I've had practical experience with thorns in Vrindavan. And, they have these maha thorns, uttama thorns, that are so big, you can't believe how big they are. And they will pierce through your shoes and metal, and so you need other thorns to take it out. So there's a question. Normally you take questions in the end. Let's wait till the end. We'll wait till we finish before we take the question. The association of ordinary persons may destroy the principles of devotional service. But if you associate with them to give them Krishna consciousness, it will enhance your devotional service. Similarly, antara may mean greed to acquire more money or more sense gratification. But actually, if you have greed or loyum for Krishna, that's going to take you to Krishna's lotus feet quicker. It's interesting. You can engage almost anything in Krishna's service. Finally, the word antara may also mean atheistic ideas by which one considers the temple deity to be made of stone, wood, or gold. Obviously, you can't engage that in Krishna's service. All of these, but we consider our body to be made of not stone, but of flesh. All of these are impediments. The deity in the temple is not material. He is the Supreme Personality of God Himself. Similarly, considering the spiritual master an ordinary human being, Guru Shu Naramatihi, is also an impediment. Nor should one consider a Vaishnava a member of a particular caste or nation. Wow, that's interesting. Or a member of a particular... Wow, that's interesting. That's just like in line with what I was talking about yesterday. Vaishnava is one who chants Hare Krishna. Nor should a Vaishnava be considered material. Let me just copy this one. Hold on a second. Sometimes I read these things and I just want to send them to different people who are bewildered by the three modes of nature, so they can hear them. Just let me send this to someone who's bewildered by the three modes of nature, so they can hear. All right, just sent it to them. Let's continue. Where am I? Okay, we'll continue. Caritamrta should not be considered ordinary drinking water, and the holy name of the Lord should not be considered an ordinary sound vibration, nor should one look on Lord Krishna as an ordinary human being, for he is the origin of all Vishnu tattvas. It's interesting, the residents of Vrindavan look upon him as a human being, but that's for them. Nor should one regard the Supreme Lord as a demigod. Sometimes the residents of Vrindavan in there, under Yogamaya, think of Krishna. Maybe he's a demigod. So, but this is special, not for us. Intermingling the spiritual with the material causes one to look on transcendence as material and the mundane as spiritual. Yes, that's a fact. Sometimes people have these real mundane conceptions, like they're looking for love in the material world and they think it's spiritual. It's not. There is love, but spiritual love. This is all due to a poor fund of knowledge. One should not consider Lord Vishnu and things related to him as being different. All this is offensive. In the Bhakti Sandarbha 265, Srila Jiva Goswami writes, Namaikam yashavachi smarana patagatam ityado deha dravanari nimitaka pashanda sabdena chadasha aparada lakshante pashanda mayatvatisham. In the verse beginning with Namaikam yasha, we find the word pashanda, godlessness. The word literally indicates misuse of one's bodily or property. But in that verse it implies the 10 offenses against the Lord's holy name. since each of these leads to such godless behavior. The Mayavadis look on Vishnu and the Vaishnavas imperfectly due to their poor fund of knowledge, and this is condemned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, text 46. The intermediate Vaishnava is described as follows. That means the Madhyama Adhikari again. Middle, Madhyama. It's interesting, the word Madhyama can sometimes mean waist, like someone's Madhyama, the waist, middle portion of the body, and someone who's very beautiful is considered to be Sumajjhima. That means they have a beautiful waist. So, but that has nothing to do with the topic we're discussing. Ishware ta adhineshu baliyesheshu dvishatsuja premamatre kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. The intermediate Vaishnava has to love God, make friends with the devotees, instruct the innocent, and reject jealous people. Doesn't mean we hate jealous people. We just stay away from them. You don't hate anybody. A devotee does not hate anybody. Remember that. No hate, 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 hate. Hate is not part of a Vaishnava's mentality. These are the four functions of the Vaishnava in the intermediate stage. In the Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya Lila, 22nd chapter, text 64, Sanatana Goswami is taught, Shadavanjanahaya Bhakti Adhikari Uttama Madhyama Kanishta Shada Anusari. One who is faithful is a proper candidate for devotional service in terms of one's degree of faith in devotional service. One is a first class, second class, or neophyte Vaishnava. Sometimes these classes are described in different ways, but the general explanation is the first class Vaishnava sees Krishna everywhere, in everything. He has strong faith and knowledge of the Vedic literatures. Complete knowledge, he can beat anyone. Second class Vaishnava has strong faith. However, he may not be so expert in the Vedic literatures. And a neophyte Vaishnava, his faith is just very, very wavering. He can be preached out of his Krishna consciousness pretty easily. He's just very new. Neophyte means new. And a neophyte also sees Krishna in the temple, because he doesn't know the conclusion of the Shastras. He doesn't see Krishna in everyone's heart. He doesn't think Krishna's outside the temple. Krishna's only in the temple, so he goes to the temple for blessings, which is good. But it's not the perfect understanding, but Krishna's everywhere. Yomam Pashati Sarvatra. Krishna is everywhere. This is really important. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. Everything comes from Krishna. Shastra Yukti Nahi Jane Jrida Sulavan Majhamadikari Se Mahabhagavan. When it was attained, the intermediate stage is not very advanced in Shastra. This is what I just said. Not very advanced in Shastric knowledge, but he has firm faith in the Lord. Such a person is very fortunate to be situated on the intermediate platform. It's Madhya Lila 2267. Rati Prema Taratam Ratam Ye Bhakta Taratama. Attraction and love for God are the ultimate goal of devotional service. The degrees of such attraction and love distinguish the different stages of devotion: neophyte, intermediate, and perfectional. That's from the CC Madhya Lila 2271. An intermediate devotee is greatly attracted to chanting the holy name, and by chanting he is elevated to the platform of love. If one chants the holy name of the Lord with great attachment, he can understand his position as an eternal servant of the spiritual master, other Vaishnavas, and Krishna himself. Thus, the intermediate Vaishnava considers himself Krishna Dasa, Krishna's servant. He therefore preaches Krishna consciousness to innocent neophytes and stresses the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. An intermediate devotee can identify the non-devotee or motivated devotee. So he has the discrimination because he deals with each one differently, whereas a neophyte devotee cannot really identify who is a devotee and who is not a devotee. The motivated devotee or the non-devotee are on the material platform, and they are called Prakrita means material. The intermediate devotee does not mix with such materialistic people. However, he understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everything related to him are on the same transcendental platform. Actually, none of them are mundane. He sees Krishna everywhere. Varishantare punaktanrahai che prashna kaila vaishnavera taratyamya prabhushikaila. The following year, the sorry about that. We got knocked off because the internet went off, and I don't know why it went off. Welcome back. Okay. Anyway, the internet went off, and now I'm on my phone, and I think I'm going to switch to my hotspot in a second. Hold on a second. Which phone? Right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. Okay, we'll just continue this way. Okay, sorry for the delay on that, but this happens sometimes, and I don't know why the internet went off like that. Hold on a second, let's get back to sharing the screen. Alright, share the screen. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Okay, let me read that translation again because I'm not sure exactly when we got knocked off. But Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, a first-class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna. So repeating what I had just said, like Prabhupada, Prabhupada actually had that effect on me. As soon as I saw Prabhupada, even now I see a picture of Prabhupada, immediately, what do? I go, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I can't think of anything else other than Krishna. Just by seeing even a picture of Prabhupada or one of Prabhupada's books or hearing the name Prabhupada, immediately, boom! So that's the proof that Prabhupada is a first-class Vaishnava. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that if an observer immediately remembers the holy name of Krishna upon seeing a Vaishnava, that Vaishnava should be considered a Mahabhagavat, a first-class devotee. Such a Vaishnava is always aware of his Krishna-conscious duty, and is enlightened in self-realization. He is always in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and this love is without adulteration. Because of this love, he is always awake to transcendental realization, because he knows that Krishna consciousness is the basis of knowledge and action. He sees everything as being connected with Krishna. Such a perfect person is able to chant the holy name of Krishna perfectly. Such a Mahabhagavat Vaishnava has the transcendental eyes to see who is sleeping under the spell of Maya, and he engages himself in awakening sleeping conditioned souls by spreading the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. He opens eyes that are closed by forgetfulness of Krishna. Thus the living entity is liberated from the dullness of material energy and is engaged fully in the service of the Lord. The Madhyama Adhikari Vaishnava can awaken others to Krishna consciousness and engage them in duties whereby they can advance. It is therefore said in the Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, chapter 6, verse 279, Lohake yavat sparshi hema nahi kare, tavat sparshamani keha chinite napare. One cannot understand the value of touchstone until it turns iron to gold. One should judge by action, not by promises. A Mahabhagavat can turn a living entity from abominable material life to the Lord's service. This is the test of a Mahabhagavat. Although preaching is not meant for a Mahabhagavat can descend to the platform of Madhyama Bhagavat just to convert others to Vaishnavism. Actually, a Mahabhagavat is fit to spread Krishna consciousness, but he does not distinguish where Krishna consciousness should be spread from where it should not. Spread from where it should be not, should not. He tries to do it everywhere. He thinks that everyone is competent to accept Krishna consciousness, if the chance is provided. A neophyte and intermediate devotee should always be eager to hear the Mahabhagavat and serve him in every respect. The neophyte and intermediate devotees can gradually rise to the platform of Uttama Adhikari and become first-class devotees. Symptoms of a first-class devotee are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 2nd chapter, text 45. Sarvabhuteshu ya pachet bhagavat bhavam atmanaha bhutani bhagavatjatmanyesha bhagavatottamaha. The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Consequently, he sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. When teaching Sanatana Goswami, the Lord further said, Shastra yukte dukche sanipuna drida shadayanra Uttama Adhikari se taraye sangsara. One who is expert in the Vedic literature and has full faith in the Supreme Lord is an Uttama Adhikari, a first-class Vaishnava, topmost Vaishnava, who can deliver the whole world and turn everyone to Krishna consciousness. That's from the Madhya Lila, 22nd chapter, text 65. With great love and affection, the Mahabhagavat observes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, devotional service, and the devotee. He observes nothing beyond Krishna, Krishna consciousness, and Krishna's devotees. The Mahabhagavat knows that everyone is engaged in the Lord's service in different ways. He therefore descends to the middle platform to elevate everyone to the Krishna conscious position. Let me try switching back to the other network to see if it's working. Let's see. And if it doesn't work, I'll be right back. Yep. Okay, that's good. He therefore descends to the middle platform to elevate everyone to the Krishna conscious position. So that's the Mahabhagavat. The Mahabhagavat is simply engaged in preaching, simply immersed in compassion, and therefore he steps down to the second class platform to engage in preaching work. If he simply stays on the first class platform, which he's always at anyway, but at least acts on the first class platform, then basically there's no preaching because he's just absorbed in his internal relationship with Krishna. Okay, let's continue. Text 75. Kramakari kahe Prabhu Vaishnava Lakshana Vaishnava Vaishnavatara Ara Vaishnavatama. In this way, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu taught the distinctions between different types of Vaishnavas, the Vaishnava, Vaishnavatara, and the Vaishnava. He thus successively explained all the symptoms of a Vaishnava to the inhabitants of Kulina Gram. So at least we should be Madhyama Adhikaris. All right. Hey Mata Sabat Vaishnava Gode Chalila Vijaniri Sevatsara Niladri Rahila. Finally, all the Vaishnavas returned to Bengal, but that year Pundarik Vijaniti remained at Jagannath Puri. Of course, Pundarik Vijaniti is Vrishabhanu, Srimati Radharani's father, an incarnation of Srimati Radharani's father. Swarupa Sahita Tandahaya Sakya Priti Dvijanaya Krishna Kataya Ekatra Hi Stiti. Swarup Damodar Goswami and Pundarik Vijaniti had a friendly, intimate relationship, and as far as discussing topics about Krishna, they were situated on the same platform. Gadadhara Pandite Teno Puna Mantra Dila Odana Shashtiradina Yatra Ye Dekila. Pundarik Vijaniti initiated Gadadhar Pandit. Let me see something. Yes. Okay, hold on a second. Pundarik Vijaniti initiated Gadadhar Pandit for the second time. And on the day of Odana Shashti, Pundarik Vijaniti saw the festival. So Odana Shashti is a very interesting festival, which we're going to hear described. At the beginning of winter, there is a ceremony known as Odana Shashti. This ceremony indicates that from that day forward, a winter covering should be given to Lord Jagannath. That covering is directly purchased from a weaver according to the Archana Marga. A cloth should first be washed to remove all the starch, and then it can be used to cover the Lord. Pundarik Vijaniti saw that the priest neglected to wash the cloth before covering Lord Jagannath. Since he wanted to find some fault in the devotees, he became indignant. This is a transcendental pastime. It's not that Pundarik Vijaniti is a fault finder. He is actually Vrishabhanu, Radharani's father. So, Jagannatha Parena Tata Madhuya Vasana Dekhiya Sakrina Haila Vijanidhiramana. When Pundarik Vijaniti saw that Lord Jagannath was given a starched garment, he became a little hateful. In this way, his mind was polluted. Of course, his hatefulness was because he wanted the Lord to be served nicely. It's the pastime of pure devotees. I mean, sometimes we see that, like, if the artist's late or something, I become, I wouldn't say hateful, but angry. Ha! So that's the Lord's service. Of course, I'm not on the same level as Pundarik Vijaniti, obviously. Seiratri Jagannatha Balaya Siya Dvibai Chadana Kanre Hasya Hasya. That night, the brothers, Lord Jagannath and Balaram, came to Pundarik Vijaniti and, smiling, began to slap him while he was resting. Remember, he's resting, sleeping at this particular point. Gala Bulila Acharyantare Valasa Vishtare Vani Chanena Varni Chat Vaniya Chena Vrindavana Dasa. Although his cheeks were swollen from the slapping, Pundarik Vijaniti was very happy within. This incident has been elaborately described by Thakur Vrindavandas. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting slapped by Lord Jagannath and Paladev. Hey Mata Prachabda, I say Godera Bhaktagana, Prabhu Sange Rahi Kare Yatra Darashana. Every year, the devotees of Bengal would come and stay with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the Rath Yatra festival. Taramadye ye varshe achiye vishesha vistariya geta kahiba ni shesha. Whatever happened during those years that is worth noting shall be described later. E mat Mahaprabhu chari vatsara gila Dakshinayana site dvivatsara lagila. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed 4 years. He spent the first 2 years on his tour in South India. Ara dvivatsara chahi vrindavana yaite Ramananda hate prabhuna pare chalite. The other 2 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, but he could not leave Jagannath Puri because of Ramananda Roy's tricks. Remember the tricks? They would say, oh, now it's the rainy season, now it's time for Rath Yatra, now it's time for this festival, and they just wanted to keep him there because the king implored Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please keep Lord Chaitanya here. I don't want to be here unless Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here. Panchama Vatsare Godera Bhakta Gana Hila Vatadeki Na Rahila Godera Chalila. During the 5th year, the devotees from Bengal came to see Rath Yatra festival. After seeing it, they did not stay but returned to Bengal. In other words, they didn't stay for the 4 months. Tabi Prabhu Sarvabhauma Ramananda Stane Alingana Kari Kahi Madhura Vachane. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed a proposal before Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy. He embraced them and spoke sweet words. Bahuta Utkanta Morayaite Vrindavana Tamarahate Dvivatsara Nakailun Gamana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my desire to go to Vrindavan has very much increased because of your tricks. I have not been able to go there for the past 2 years. Avashya chaleba dunhe karaha samati toma dunha viramora nahi anya gati. This time I must go. Will you please give me permission? Say for you too, I have no other resort. Gora deshe hayamora dvi samashraya Janani Janhavi Edvi Dayamaya. In Bengal, I have 2 shelters, my mother and the river Ganges. Both of them are very merciful. Goda Desha Diadyaba Tansaba Dekiya Tumidun He Agyadeha Harasanahana. I shall go to Vrindavan through Bengal and see both my mother and the river Ganges. Now, would you too be pleased to give me permission? Shuniya Prabhu Ravani Mani Vicharya Prabhu Sanayati Hata Kabubhalanaya. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy heard these words, they began to consider that it was not at all good that they had played so many tricks on the Lord to keep him there. Dunhe kahe bivarsha chalite nariba vijaya dashami aile avasya chaliba. They both said, now that the rainy season is here, it will be very difficult for you to travel. It would be better to wait for Vijaya Dashami before departing for Vrindavan. Vijaya Dashami, of course, is the celebration of Lord Ram defeating Ravana. Jai Haribo. Text 94. Anande Mahaprabhu Varsha Kaila Samadana Vijaya Dashami Dine Karila Payana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to thus receive their permission. He waited until the rainy season passed, and when the day of Vijaya Dashami arrived, he departed for Vrindavana, Haribo. But he doesn't get there this particular time. Jagannatha Prasada Prabhu Yata Panachila Kadara Chandana Dora Saba Sange Laila. The Lord collected whatever remnants of food were left by Lord Jagannath. He also took remnants of the Lord's Kadara ointment, sandalwood, and ropes with him. Whoops. Jagannath's permission early in the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed, and all the devotees of Risa began to follow him. Uh-oh. It says the internet connection is a little unstable. Hope it doesn't conk out again. Udiya Bhaktagane Prabhu Yatne Nivarila Nijagana Sange Prabhu Bhavani Pura Oila. With great care, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forbade the Arisan devotees to follow him. Then, accompanied by his personal associates, he first went to Bhavanipura. One goes through Bhavanipura before reaching a well-known place named Jankade Pura or Janaki Devi Pura. Text 98. Ramananda Hela Pache Dulaya Charya Vaninata Pahu Prasada Dila Patana. After Lord Chaitanya reached Bhavanipura, Ramananda Roy arrived on his palanquin, and Vaninath Roy had a large quantity of prasadam sent to the Lord. So, let's mark down what we did today. 72 to 98. 2 to 98. Okay, so now we will open up the floor, or the computer, as the case may be, for questions. And we apologize for the internet going out, but that was not my fault. That was the fault of the internet deities. So we did not properly worship the internet deities, and that's why it went out. So there are deities of the internet. Must be. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? Type your questions, raise your hand, unmute your microphone. You got time to ask questions.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Rapna, okay. Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
All glories to Prabhupada.
I have a question regarding the 6 Goswamis. Like, are they in the disciplic succession, or are they associates of Lord Chaitanya?
They are both. They are associates of Lord Chaitanya and in the disciplic succession. Although, so people ask that question because they don't see the names of all of them listed sometimes in the disciplic succession. But the disciplic succession is not just one person at each step, but it branches out. It's horizontal as well as vertical. So yes, they're in the disciplic succession, all of the 6 Goswamis, as well as other ones like Lokanath and Bhugarva, are all in the disciplic succession, and they're also associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and practically all the associates, almost all the associates, as far as I know, of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda are in the disciplic succession.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay? All right. Gopal Gordon, where's the question from earlier from Mayapur Chandra? He'll have to type it again because I don't see the question anymore. So if he types it, then I can answer the question because I just noticed the question. I didn't thoroughly read it before. Mayapur Chandra, you're going to ask your question. Okay, what's your question?
So the text was so specific earlier in the class how any sense gratification means a person is not a devotee. But over and over again, you've stressed that the Madhyama devotee needs to be careful to allow for enough sense gratification to not go crazy.
Yes.
So,
but he sees that sense gratification in relationship to as a necessity so he can serve Krishna.
okay.
So he connects it. He doesn't see it as separate. A true Madhyamadikari doesn't see it as separate. He just says, well, the body needs it. It's just like if I have a car, and I have a very nice car. No, I don't. I have a Prius. And that Prius, sometimes it needed a new battery, so I had to pay a lot of money for a new battery. And so that's sense gratification for the car, and I understand, but I needed to do Krishna's service or else the car is not going to function. And that's what I mean. So, but of course, we're talking about far more subtle sense gratification too, like a Madhyama Adhikari may need satisfaction for the mind. You need to rest the mind sometimes. We didn't see Prabhupada ever need to rest his mind. Prabhupada never rested his mind like I said, oh, I need a time out, just a chill out. You never hear Prabhupada say that. Whereas a Madhyama Adhikari will say, I need some time out to chill out so I can serve Krishna. So he connects it with Krishna. So it's not, one sense it's sense gratification, in another sense it's actually a necessity so he can serve Krishna. How about that? Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. So,
Gurudev,
yeah.
earlier you were speaking about the not considering the spiritual master or the advanced devotees as being material, and that's an offense.
Yeah.
And we see that people who are very new to Krishna consciousness, they read these things and then they have very advanced expectations of advanced devotees, and when those devotees don't meet up to those specific expectations as to what people think is perfect or think is spiritual, then they become discouraged and they go away. So how can we avoid, or how can we help?
Well, I mean, the spiritual master and the advanced devotees are persons, but they're not perfect in the same sense that Krishna is perfect. Their perfection is that whatever they're doing is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they're not omniscient. They're not omnipotent. There's actually a difference. Sometimes people think, like for example, they think that Prabhupada is omniscient, so if he says something and it turns out to be right, like, there's like that whole statement about Prabhupada made about men and women with 62 ounces and 32 ounces, like that. And so, let me just do something right here. So, I just sent someone a message. So, a funny message. So give me a chance to come down from my humor. So if they see Prabhupada make what they would consider to be a material mistake, it may hurt their faith, but they don't understand that the pure devotee is not perfect materially. The pure devotee is perfect spiritually because whatever he says is in line with Siddhanta, and whatever he does is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But, he may try out different strategies. And some strategies may work, some strategies may not work. But his intention is to please the Supreme Personality of God. That is the motivation. But he's not God. He doesn't know all time, places, and circumstance. Like Krishna says in the Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that's in the past, everything that's in the present, and everything will happen in the future. Well, pure devotee doesn't know that stuff. He's not Vishnu. And he has his own tastes, too. Like one pure devotee may like one type of food, another pure devotee may like another type of food. And may not like the first type of food that the other pure devotee likes. These things are not absolute. So the pure devotee has a relative side to his personality. Relative meaning it's all in relationship to Krishna, obviously, but relative indicating his own personality, just like in the spiritual world. There's also to different tastes and relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in this world, we should not confuse material perfection with spiritual perfection. We have to see that the motivation is to please Krishna on behalf of the pure devotee. Okay, so who else has a question? No one else has a question. Oh my God. If no one else has a question, then no? Raise your hand. No. Pretty good.
Can I ask a follow-up question to what you just said?
Yes, ask a follow-up question.
So we see that it's pretty common that devotees will get confused as to the different perfections of the spiritual master and Vishnu Tattva. So is that to be expected, or are they not reading properly, not hearing properly, or what can we do to help people not fall into that trap?
Well, we should explain. There has to be like a hermeneutical explanation of Prabhupada's position. And actually, there have been some papers published by some of the devotees like Sridhar Maharaj and others that explain Prabhupada's position hermeneutically, because otherwise one will ultimately lose faith. If one thinks that the pure devotee is omniscient, is omnipresent, doesn't make material, I wouldn't even say mistakes, but material decisions that sometimes can be shown to be not the absolute perfect material decision, then they lose faith when they see that. They think, oh, I thought the pure devotee is supposed to be perfect. So perfection is in serving Krishna. So yes, it's very important to educate all the devotees. Otherwise, they'll get very confused when they see that their spiritual master is a person. Okay. Just one other question. Yes, one other question here coming from Radhapada. Please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gadadhar Pandit was initiated for the second time by Puttarik Vidyamanidhi. That means he took 2 different mantras. That doesn't mean he got the Hare Krishna mantra first. The ISKCON does something very different. And this is sort of unique to ISKCON, that we have like 2 initiations, the Hare Krishna mantra initiation or Mahamantra initiation, in which one vows to follow 4 regulated principles, chant 16 rounds every day, and then we have Gayatri initiation. So sometimes there's different Gayatri mantras given at different times. We actually see that in the case of Sripad Ramanujacharya too, when he got different mantras, even from different gurus. So that's sort of the tradition. The guru can give you new mantras. Oh, here's another example right now. Like when I took Brahman initiation from Prabhupada, there's 7 mantras I got from Prabhupada. And then when I took sannyas, I got a new mantra. And I'm not going to give you that mantra, because if you chant that, you will become detached from the material world, and you will not be able to take care of your family anymore. You'll simply be immersed in pure Krishna consciousness, and I don't want any of you to become pure devotees so quickly because you have so many responsibilities in this world. And so better you work it out long term. No, it's a joke. But anyway, so so I've actually, yeah, I know there's no risk of that, and this particular individual responded. So like I've gotten 3 initiations. I got my Harinama initiation, then I got my Brahman initiation, and then I got my sannyasa initiation. So that's life. And there's different mantras each initiation, the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. But first of all, with Vaishnavas like Pundarik Vijayanidhi, not Pundarik Vijayanidhi, like Gadadhar Pandit Goswami giving Pundarik Vijayanidhi his initiation, it wasn't that he gave him the Maha mantra. The Maha mantra was already given by Caitanya Mahaprabhu, was already present for everybody. But in the ISKCON movement, we do have this Maha mantra initiation, the Harinam initiation, which is actually sort of unique. Like in the Gaudiya Maths, generally they didn't consider it an initiation when they gave someone the Maha mantra. They would give someone a name and the Maha mantra, and they weren't really, in most cases, it wasn't about a chant 16 rounds. Sometimes they say, well, chant as many rounds as you can. Or sometimes they say 4 rounds. No, but that's not the mantra we're given. That's just something that because Prime Govinda, you're not a sannyasi yet. So that's not the sannyas mantra. That's a mantra the sannyasis chant, but it's not given to them as an initiation mantra. There's an actual initiation mantra given to the sannyasis, and that's not it. That's just the consciousness of a sannyasi, which is actually very important. I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the surface of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's not really part of the initiation. There's another mantra which I cannot tell you, Pran Govinda, because if I told you, you would just like run to Govardhan and be rolling on the ground in ecstasy, and I need your help. I don't want you to become so advanced in devotional service so quickly, because we need you to help us in New Orleans and other places. So better you remain as you are. Stani sita shrutikatam tan van manobir. Okay, on that happy note, we'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, same station. And I guess, should we put the notice out again? Yeah. Okay, so here's the Vyas Puja timings again for everybody. I'll give you a second to copy them. Vyas Puja. Let's see. So you all see. Whoops. I think I sent it already. So there are the timings again. Otherwise, you can look at the WhatsApp messages. Okay, we'll see you everybody tomorrow night. Oh, another message. There's another message in the bottom. I don't see any other messages. Let's see. Yes, you can attend the Vyas Puja online. Well, let me talk to the boss here and see. At least online. Okay. See everybody tomorrow. All glorious to His